Today we are going to be talking about the DeathClaws in Fallout. If you wanted to hear about DeathClaws today, you are in the right place. So in Fallout, there is this creature that strikes fear into the population of the wasteland. A hulking beast with claws, fangs, and horns that can tear even somebody in power armor apart. It is the DeathClaw. This is your big bad wolf. And you are Little Red Riding Hood. It's already ate Grandma, and you better hope that the huntsman coming on your side.
Yeah, so I have been fighting DeathClaws in Fallout 1 and 2 as I've been going through gathering lore. And I learned, like, you shoot and run. You shoot and run. Not only that, but I'm like, the thing I'm shooting on the DeathClaw is its legs. I want to slow it down so it can't get to me. Because
fighting a DeathClaw is crippling its legs.
That's the key to in the early Fallouts. You cripple a DeathClaw's legs so it can't hunt you down.
Because even in the later Fallouts, crippling its legs is how you beat it, because then it can't get to you. Because it's melee at heart, right?
Yeah, they're super dangerous, but they are melee. So if you can knock a leg down, then you can. Then it becomes a manageable fight, right? Whereas if you can't wound one of those legs, then one crit and they can kill you.
Yeah,
it's brutal.
They are the apex predator of the wasteland.
Yeah,
but where did they come from? You might think they come from some kind of radiation thing, like the Brahmin or the red scorpions or roaches or things like that. You would be wrong. No, the U.S. government strikes again.
Oh,
we're developing these before the war.
Oh my God! What?
Yes, these were developed as shock troops in search and destroy missions. These were being planned to being shipped over to China.
They were going to send the DeathClaws to China.
That's right. But then the bombs dropped. Right?
I guess, in a way, that makes sense, because so many of the creatures of the waste are just larger, more dangerous versions of things we have now. Right? Like the rad scorpions that are everywhere. Those were emperor scorpions, just little pets that people had who got exposed. Whereas the DeathClaw doesn't really resemble anything, right? So it kind of makes sense that this was a lab-created creature.
So, as far as them being created, their base DNA is the Jackson camellions. So these are most recognizable because they've got these three horns coming straight out of their face. Or at least the males do. And that is their base. Now, they are a far way away from this.
Yeah, they are long shot from that. Like, they are.
They are saying, they've incorporated other DNA to change this, that, there, and the other. Now, granted, this lore comes out in Fallout 2, which was rushed, right? And so I think they chose the Jackson chameleon for its horns, and then omitted other things that were very Jackson chameleon that they just don't have.
Right.
I know in early development it was going to be a mammal, and then they switched it to a reptile later on in development. Jackson chameleon, I just want to go into them real quick. A couple of unique things that they didn't use that I thought would be interesting for the DeathClaws is Jackson chameleons. They give live birth. They're the chameleons. That give live birth. Now, granted, DeathClaws have eggs, right?
This is I didn't connect that dot right away, but yeah, I've destroyed DeathClaw eggs.
Yeah.
I've seen the hatcheries. Yeah.
Independent eyes. DeathClaws have very predatory eyes, straightforward.
Oh,
chameleon eyes,
independent eyes on a DeathClaw would be creepy.
I think they should have stuck with it.
I do too.
Not what they did.
I think the problem is that the eyes on the side of the head look very prey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are very much predator, but still, like,
right.
DeathClaw looking at you, coming, trying to sneak up on him, and be like, no, I see you.
Well, like, even just for a cutscene, like you sneak up on a DeathClaw, and one of those eyes roll back at you, and you go,
"Oh yeah, that would have been so cool." Right.
Like after you've seen it tear something apart, and then a cutscene where you've stumbled upon it that doesn't see you yet, and one eye just rolls back. Anyways, that's
cool. That would have been really cool.
Another unique thing about the Jackson chameleons is the females only need to breed once, and then after that, they can re-impregnate themselves when they want to.
What?
A big problem with people who get these chameleons is they'll have a female out of nowhere. She just has a bunch of babies.
Yeah.
And you're like, what happened? And like, well, she can just get pregnant when she wants.
Hang on to that seed forever. So, I mean, I guess I don't know a ton about DeathClaw reproduction, but I wonder if they could do that.
Well, I think they didn't quite put that in the lore, but a lot of people are like, that is why they're so high on their survival rate in the wastelands. Right? Is that the females?
Because a female would only have to encounter a male once, and then she can just lay eggs wherever. Yeah.
I mean, also with chameleons, they don't hang out in groups or anything like that. Whereas DeathClaws do. DeathClaws form packs.
I mean, the most, usually the biggest pack you'll see of DeathClaw is a mother and children, right? Usually it's not multiple adults.
Well, so they pick the alpha male and the alpha female for the pack. But no, I think in New Vegas, you run into like there's the quarry and there's like 24 of them or something in there.
Okay, I think I remember trying to snipe a few down. Like, that's a lot of DeathClaws.
So as far as like physiology goes, the eggs really hardy, about 12 pounds. It's about as close to a dinosaur egg as you can get. Really long shelf life on them, so if they're ignored for a bit, they can still be hatched later. Babies, very light brown, and then they kind of get darker and darker with age, until they're becoming like a gray or like a blue for the older ones. Females' horns will grow backwards. Males' horns grow forwards. Whereas with the chameleons, it's usually the males that just have horns. Females just don't. One of the subspecies, females will grow a single horn. And of course, the hands are 5-finger posable thumb, whereas chameleons, they kind of have a 2-digit one way, 3-digit the other, kind of mitteny kind of hands. But these are things that the extra fingers and claws were added to the DNA. Bipedal, they stand on two.
Yeah, they just stand on 2 legs. Yeah,
that was chosen to be able to see farther out, to see more prey. They shy away from bright lights and loud noises,
except when you're shooting your gun. Right, they'll come to you.
But flares they'll avoid.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's too bright for them. Gunfire doesn't really, if anything, makes them mad, right?
Yeah.
Adults grow up to about 20 feet long.
So that's horn to tail, right?
Horn to tail, exactly.
Yeah. 20 feet. That's big.
Yeah, they're huge. Yeah.
It's huge. Yeah.
They do only live to be about 10 years old, though. That's about the average lifespan of DeathClaws.
Okay, because I remember when you meet the intelligent DeathClaws, like, none of them seem super bright, and I wonder if part of that is, like, they just don't have a lot of time for education.
Now, I purposely didn't dive too far into the intelligent DeathClaws. Now, so in Fallout 2, we get the intelligent DeathClaws, right? The Enclave has taken DeathClaws, expose them to the Force evolutionary virus, and made them intelligent.
Well, I do wonder, because, I mean, they're a fairly new creation, and the Enclave is pretty intent on wiping them out, and they make a good go of it, right? I think only Goris survives.
Right. So at the end of Fallout 2, they're all wiped out, right? According to canon.
But I do wonder, since it was FEV, if they would live beyond 10 years, right? Because a lot of times FEV, just, you don't die, you stop aging, right?
Right. That might be, but it very much seems, that, like, that's what they did with DeathClaws in Fallout 2, and it's like, let's kind of undo that. As they were rushing Fallout 2, they reached into the intelligent raccoons storing.
Yeah,
Just replaced it
with the DeathClaws.
Right, to just be like, we already have some story here. Let's just throw that in here, right? So that we can rush this product out.
Yes. So if you're a little lost on intelligent raccoons, you can listen to our episode, The Glow, from Fallout, where we talk about them.
I wanted to talk about another funny thing that they've kind of done with the DeathClaw and the camellions here. So, Jackson camellions come from Kenya. But if you go to get a Jackson camellion, you will probably get one that is from Hawaii or Hawaii-born chameleon. And that's not where they're natives from. And back in the day, there was a pet store that had a bunch of these in it. And the storm came and destroyed the pet store. And they are now an invasive species
in Hawaii.
Major export of a exotic animal. So, basically the same thing happens with the DeathClaws. Right? They're kept in a facility. Something bad happened now. They just got out there.
Now they're just loose on the wasteland. Yeah.
Now, in the beginning, they're very much like your ghost store. Later on, as time goes on, they populate the wasteland more. They become common space knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a little while for people to really know what they are. One, because, they probably killed most people who ran into them previously, right?
Yeah.
So, well, there's something dangerous over there. Friend went over there, didn't come back.
Yeah. Well, and you'd probably find bones and bodies every once in a while torn up. And I think that's, in dealing with the caravan mystery, one of the big things is, like, people think it's DeathClaws, but at the same time, there's no bodies or blood. They're just gone. So, and that's why people aren't just like, it's a DeathClaw. They're like, we think DeathClaw, but it's weird. Because it's the super mutants captured them to dip into the vats.
Right. Yeah. So another thing about the super mutants and the Master is the survival guide in Fallout. You got a little booklet that comes with the book. So in there it talks about how the Master has taken DeathClaws and altered them with the FEV virus. So that suggests that they weren't as crazy as they are now.
Right, and maybe he just couldn't get them to do what he wanted.
Or after he altered them, then they just went crazy.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah,
lost control. Whatever it may be, they were altered farther than originally intended, originally created, if you will.
Interesting. All right. Anything else on DeathClaws?
So, of course, there are variations that go here and there, but it's more not canon. We see some in Brotherhood of Steel and Tactics, but, other than that, it's more game-building stuff, right? Like, you find the legendary DeathClaw who's super tough, or the mythic DeathClaw is even tougher. There's no Dino DeathClaw, but I think that covers their biology pretty well.
Cool. And I will probably dive deeper into them in Fallout 2, where we explore the Enclave's genetic manipulation, the DeathClaw colony, and the DeathClaw companion Gorus.
I do want to mention one more thing that you do run in with DeathClaws is later on, the Enclave creates domestication units that they strap onto DeathClaws, and then they can use them like guard dog robots in a way.
Yeah, because one of the big things they didn't like is that with the intelligence, they became more passive. And the Enclave, that's why they decided to get rid of them. No, they don't want you to be passive. We want you to be aggressive killers. Kill the communists. Kill the communists. Right? Like, that's what they want. Some poor tribe out there sharing food, gonna die.
But then, of course, with these units, they're programmed, don't attack Enclave personnel. And with the Brotherhood of Steel, you can hack into that and reverse that coding, and then they just turn on the Enclave for you.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't think I did that in my playthrough.
Well, it's an option.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this short, and we'll catch you guys next time. Welcome to the Floor, fantasy and sci-fi lore, wherever you get your podcasts.